And it's raining, although I can literally see sunlight in certain parts of, I guess, the more southern areas. Let's see if it actually stops. There's usually a good chance it will when you see stuff like that. And what's going on today? I guess it's kind of interesting reading this one where you've heard people complaining recently with all the drone deliveries and stuff like that, where people feel you should not be allowed to fly drones over things like their personal property. So how about creating some kind of bill in terms of what would be considered as trespassing? This one says, bill would make drone trespassing in Wyoming a crime, but some say it's too lenient. There was no resolution Friday for a bill that would make trespassing by drone a criminal offense in Wyoming, as the legislators' Senate Judiciary Committee paused its debate until Monday. Senate File 34 is intended to make flying drones over private property without permission a form of trespassing. As it's worded, the bill would require proof that a drone flight has substantially affected a property owner's use and enjoyment of their land. That's too vague, said Jim Magagna, Executive Vice President of the Wyoming Stock Growers Association. Enjoyment is a pretty nebulous and undefined concept, he told the committee. It says, instead, unauthorized drone flights over private property should be defined as trespassing, the same as setting foot on private property is. The word substantially should also be removed, said Wyoming Farm Bureau Federation spokesman Brett Mullen. As an example here on drones flying over properties where they say is an issue, they claim sometimes when a drone's flying in the property, they are harassing livestock, as they say, but with their proposal here, you'd have to kind of prove that the offense was, quote, substantial. And it says the bill as written could also hamper insurance adjusters trying to use drones to survey damaged areas, said Kate Wilkinson, spokeswoman for the American Property and Casualty Insurance Association. And as they say, I guess this proposal could create issues, for example, with companies wanting to fly their drones to do inspections such as power lines, and they say they would add exceptions to there. And it says that might require crossing several properties, but there would be no hovering over a gathering for a Sunday picnic, he said. As written, the bill could make it difficult for law enforcement officers to ticket alleged offenses or prosecutors to punish them, said Attorney Terry Armitage, speaking on behalf of the Wyoming Associations of Sheriffs and Chiefs of Police. And usually with these types of topics, people try to define what is, quote, I guess, your private airspace, if that's what you want to say with this proposal. And it says immediate airspace over private property is defined loosely as anything below 500 feet, he said. 50 feet is definitely immediate airspace. From 50 to 500 feet is likely immediate airspace. I just see so many issues with these, and for a lot of the problems that people are mentioning, I would imagine there's already ways to deal with it, isn't it? I mean, let's just say theoretically, someone was using a drone to harass someone's livestock, like literally. Are you telling me with all the proof and so forth, you can't do anything about it? Let's just say the guy took footage of it or something like that. They laughed about it, posted it online. You're saying, oh, there's no laws against that, so I can't do anything about it. I wouldn't think so, correct? It's no different, in my opinion, than the topics of things like what, spying, voyeurism and all that. You don't need separate laws saying, okay, we need rules in terms of how you can use your smartphone camera, rules in terms of specifics on how you can use things like a webcam, a mirrorless camera, a DSLR. You just have like a general rule about things like voyeurism and all that, for example. So why couldn't it be that straightforward? Because this is creating more issues, in my opinion, with this type of approach. And I was reading this today, it was kind of interesting. It happened a while ago where YouTube announced that they were going to introduce a new policy where people who use, for example, vulgar language in their videos for certain times will not be able to, for example, monetize their videos and so forth. But it's not until recently where they actually started to enforce this, so it's kind of interesting. So for those who don't know, you can see they updated their policy here saying inappropriate language. Our approach to profanity is changing. All varieties of profanity are now treated equally, meaning they are not differentiated based on levels of severity. For example, light, moderate, strong, or extreme. And we are not treating hell and damn as a profanity anymore. Therefore, profanity used in the title, thumbnails, or in the video's first 7 seconds or used consistently throughout the video may not receive ad revenue. Profanities used after the first 8 seconds may receive ad revenue. Our position on not monetizing content with profanity throughout or compromising the majority of the video is not changing. So that's kind of the odd part. So if you have, let's just say, quote profanity within the first 7 seconds, it's bad, but then afterwards, like past 8 seconds, for example, it's perfectly okay. Where's the logic in that? You have a lot of people basically mocking that because it really doesn't make sense if you think about it. For example, there are people creating videos where they talk perfectly, I guess, polite and all that for the first 7 seconds, and then afterwards they started like cussing just to mock it. And I was reading some examples online. It just sounds so ridiculous on how technical it's getting. Like, for example, this guy's posting to YouTube here. It says, "My best of 2022 video got limited and age restricted by YouTube. After asking you to review it, you stood by the rating, claiming there's profanity used in the first 8 to 15 seconds. The first swear word is said at 2:54, almost 3 minutes into the video. What gives?" Yeah, it's kind of ridiculous when you get that technical in terms of when it actually appeared. You would think it would just be in general. And it's kind of interesting to think too, because this guy here says, "What started with ISIS beheading videos getting demonetized in 2015 has turned into profanity censorship in 2023. Advertising as a business model is fundamentally flawed." Kind of gets you to think too, I guess. Is that kind of one of those topics where some people say when people begin making, I guess, restrictions and so forth, they just don't know when to stop? Would you say that's the case here? Or is this a legitimate concern per se? It's been happening for a while where it feels like the platform is becoming more like what traditional mainstream TV or media was in the past. Whereas people would normally come to a place like this, I guess, to try to hear from, quote, real people, if that's what you want to say. It just seems like it's becoming more mainstream, as that's how it is in TV, for example. No swearing and this and that. So do you actually like that or not, I guess? Looks like the rain did stop too. Alright, see you guys later.